Morning and welcome. So I think I'm going to have Eileen come right now, and she just felt like she had a word of encouragement for the church. As I am recording, is that okay?
I had a dream this week, and it was for the church, and I wasn't sure when I was supposed to share the word, but I felt like God was saying a lot of the church, this is worldwide, this is not just this church, is having a really hard time getting their step again. And it's probably since the coronavirus, but I feel like God actually kind of reset like a church calendar right before the coronavirus. And it's called like a new church era is a lot of what the big like worldwide prophets are saying, that we're in the midst of a new era in the church. And I haven't been thinking very much about that, but it confirms what I was hearing from the Lord, that a lot of the old ways that we walk with Him and the old ways that we hear Him, the old things that we do might not have the same results right now. He's the same God yesterday, today, and forever. But the way He wants to do a new thing. And so we're in the new season as the church. And so I feel like He wants us to enter back in really a listening mode. Just to say, what are you saying that's new? What you're saying new things. What I'm doing in the old ways isn't producing fruit anymore. And a lot of us can feel that something's different, something's new. A lot of things look new and feel new anyway. But I think really that's what God's saying. He wants us to really spend time, just you and He, and listen. Read a lot of the Word and just listen to His voice, because He has something new to say. And the encouragement is that it's okay to feel off your normal game, because it is it feels a little bit new, and He's the same God, but He has something new to say, new for us to do, and probably something a little bit new as a church also. So I don't know what that is. I don't either. I'm in that exact same spot. So I'm listening. I'm trying to listen like I don't know what He's going to say. And then the dream had a lot to do with like big church programs and a lot of things that we've always done, big productions like Christmas plays and those sorts of things. And it was just like people we were just hiring it out. Like they would just bring in actors, and you could only recognize a couple people that were even in the play from that church. Like they were just putting it on, you know what I mean? So the sincerity of it wasn't there. They were just plopping something out of storage, putting it on the stage and saying, this is what we've always done. Well, it's not what God has now. He wants us to listen afresh and our spirits to be fresh with Him. So that's what I really feel like God was saying.
So is anybody else feeling that?
My
Yes?
sister, just about a week ago, said that she had that almost same revelation, that God had told her that church was not to be business as usual.
Good. Yeah, I think probably all of us in some place in our spirits are searching for what's going on, and I myself am in that boat. And for me, I think it's even a little bit more. I'm not, as a pastor, I'm supposed to know the answers. And I don't know the answers right now. And I know who the answer is, but how do you try to convince a society that absolutely does not believe in the person that really matters and can change society? And I think, for me, it's really a struggle. And which is one reason I want to go on a 4-day silent retreat, you know, because I gotta just get with God. Because there's too many voices going on. I don't know, you know. And so this morning, kind of that kind of, I think, bleeds in a little bit to what I'm coming from. This morning, these are my notes. So it could go really short or it could go really long. But I have, like I said, been struggling with all of this. And I think even with a little depression, some mild depression, which I struggle with here off and on. And so as I started thinking about this and kind of processing where I was, Glenda said something to me, and she said, you know, she said it's been 10 years this month since I'm assuming I preached my first sermon at Glade Park Church. And I can hardly believe it, because it seems like 20. No, I'm just kidding. But I got to thinking about that. And I got to thinking about the last 10 years. And I got to thinking about this body. And I got to thinking about my life. And I got to thinking about the joys, the struggles that we've went through as a church. And just the wonderful people here that accept me with all my weaknesses. And, you know, I was thinking about the stories we could tell about how we've done funny things and laughed together, cried together, prayed together, ate together, maybe even fought a little bit together. But God has, that was nice. God has really, really been so gracious and so wonderful over these 10 years. And I think of just our lives, you know, being able to move out of Clifton, Uncle Jim coming to live with us in the house we're in now, and there's just the way God led me to get into the ministry. I mean, how I was willing to risk that, and can't believe that I was willing to do that, you know, honestly. And so there's just been so many things that I'm thankful for. And so I kind of asked the question, are you thankful? Are you grateful? And I thought about kind of, you know, having us raise our hands if there's something we're grateful for. Is there something you're grateful for? Something you're thankful for. And if not, your life's really bad. No. But I think sometimes we have to stop and think about what we're thankful for. We have to stop and think about the things that we're grateful for. Because in a time like we're living in, it's very easy to go, man, I don't have anything to be thankful for. You know, the world's falling apart. You know, I'm afraid to go anywhere. I'm afraid to go into the cities. What if I get killed? You know, all these things. And we forget to look at what we have right around us. So my purpose today is to encourage you. But I look at depression, and in my own life and in other people's lives, and I think a part of depression is a lack of gratitude. It's a lack of looking at what you have and being thankful. So when I started thinking about what I was thankful for, and how I look at the beginning of my life and I come through to now, how God has kept me, my family, how He's brought me along the way, and I can see those times where He intervened. And that is something that encourages me. And I don't have a verse for this, but if you look, and I've said this before, but if you look at Abraham's life and even Paul's life, by the end of their lives, they were far more convinced of God's faithfulness and much more ready to obey Him than they were at the beginning of their lives. Because God had been faithful. And they had a lot to be thankful for. So I want to just take a time, and I want us to just kind of take a few moments in our own kind of world and think about the things that you're grateful for. And I'm not really thinking about your new car or the money you have in your bank account. I'm thinking about deep things that you're thankful for. What God's done in your life. What are those things in your life that you're an incredibly better person now than you were before you knew Him? The deepness of family relationships. Those, I think we tend to, when we're thankful, we tend just to go to the top level and we're thankful for the things, but there's so much more deep stuff. If you start thinking, when I start thinking in my own life about the inner healing I got at my first Warrior Heart Camp, which probably led me here in so many ways, and even as a young kid, having that call, I think, to preach, and I stood in front of my mirror as a teenager and 14 years old, 12 years old, and preached into the mirror like I was preaching to a stadium full of people. If that's not a call, what is it? And so, as I look back over my life, I start digging down, and I begin to see really, really deep things that I'm thankful for. Even bad experiences that I'm thankful for. I have a quote here that says, "Behind every trial there's a silver lining." And I really believe that. So just take some time and maybe you want to talk to your spouse or your kids, maybe you just want to sit and think about that for a minute. So I'm just going to give some time for us to think about that. Just meditate on that. So maybe you would want to share something you're thankful for. Something that might encourage the rest of us.
I'm thankful that we have a church family, whether it's up here or down below, that we can, when we have those discouragement and stuff, we have people around us to encourage us, as well as God. You know,
Yeah.
we gotta remember that God is always there for us. He doesn't always answer things at the time that we want. We would love that, but He always answers in the time that is the most needed.
Yes, amen. So Janelle's thankful for churches both down here and up here and down in the valley that we have support. I'm just kind of doing that in case people didn't hear it on there, but yeah. And God, she said, is the most is with us all the time. Amen. Carrie.
My new car and my bank account.
That is okay to be thankful for. Kerry said his new car and his bank account. I'm thankful for my new house. So that's okay, Kerry. Amen.
I don't have a new car.
Yeah, but hopefully you have a good bank account.
Besides Jesus as being always what I'm most thankful for and what He has done, is doing in my life, He's always taken care of me, I believe, from day one. But other than that, I am most thankful for the people in my life.
Yes.
They bring joy and heartache and lessons and all kinds of things. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't for my girls, I truly believe they're a huge blessing. I have grown so much since I have my kids. They brought me back to church. God's used me, stretched my comfort zone. Things have just moved towards Him since then.
Can you guys hear everybody in the back? She was saying that her kids are very much of a blessing to her. So maybe if you're going to talk, stand up, turn around so everybody can hear. Max.
I just thank God for all the gifts He's given each one of us.
All the gifts that He's given each one of us. Amen. Yeah. As many of you know, my daughter has cancer, and we're not talking right now, but even in that, there's some good things that have happened. That through my dad, she reunited with her grandpa, and that's really a good thing. And so even in that, there's been, I think, some blessings. So, and there's other things like that I could go on probably for. I got to think about everything I'm thankful for, and I thought, wow, I could talk a long time about what I'm thankful for. If you really stop and get down to thinking about how good God is. So thank you. So I wanted to look at Luke 17, and just talk about this a little bit. This is the parable, or not the parable, but the story of the 10 lepers, 10 men with leprosy. And we're just going to read through this, and then I'm going to just kind of do some, just talk about it a little bit, some things I saw, and maybe I'll see some things I didn't see last night. So, we're going to start at verse 11. As Jesus continued on towards Jerusalem, okay, so if you follow the trail of verses, like in my Bible here, Jesus was on his way to be crucified. So he had made that turn towards Jerusalem, saying, I'm going to Jerusalem, I'm going to be crucified. And the whole way along the way, he was doing things like this. And he was teaching, and he was going into the villages, and he was ministry on the way to his death. I think I would have been pouting. But as Jesus continued on towards Jerusalem, he reached the border between Galilee and Samaria. As you know, probably the Jews hated Samaritans. They were a half-breed to them. They would walk around Samaria to go somewhere. They wouldn't walk through it because they didn't want to walk through that country. So they would go hours out of their way. That's prejudice. They hated him. As he entered a village there, 10 lepers stood at a distance crying out, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." So lepers, of course, leprosy was contagious, and lepers were not able to be around the general population. So they would have to shout, "Leprosy, leprosy, leprosy," or something to that effect, to make people know that they were coming, because they couldn't be touched. The Jews said they're unclean. But these 10 lepers stood at a distance crying out, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." He looked at them and said, "Go show yourself to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed of their leprosy. So the go show yourself to the priest, sometimes leprosy would go into remission. And it was Jewish law, it was commanded in, I believe, Leviticus 14:2-3, that if your leprosy went into remission, you had to go to the priests at the temple, and they had to pronounce you clean. You would have to shave all your hair, your beard, everything, so they could check every inch of you to see if you were clean. And so this is what Jesus told them: go to the temple and show yourselves to priests. And as they went, they were cleansed. So I kind of find this amazing, that it seems a lot of times when Jesus healed, he demanded something of somebody's faith. So, okay, you want to be healed, you need to take that step and go show yourself to the priest. Sometimes they had to go to the pool of whatever that was, Shalom, the pool of Shalom, or they had, to put mud on their eyes or something like that. And that was, Jesus put the mud on the guy's eyes, and then he had to go to the pool and wash it off. So they went, though, and they were healed. And then verse 15, one of them, when he saw that he was healed, came back to Jesus shouting, "Praise God!" He fell to the ground at Jesus' feet, thanking him for what he had done. This man was a Samaritan. Oh, you like that? Jesus just sticks that right in there, and the Jews go, boom, Jesus asked, "Didn't I heal 10 men? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give God glory except this foreigner?" And Jesus said to the man, "Stand up and go. Your faith has healed you." So there's just a few things, and there's probably a lot of things. But one of the things that I see is that when this man fell on the ground at Jesus' feet, he thanked him for what he had done. Do we really stop and think about what God has done for us? I think sometimes we take it for granted, what God has done. And sometimes we don't see the things in our lives as things that God has done, when he probably has worked through those things. Like Carla said, he works through the tough times too. And And so I like that. The other thing that kind of struck me was when Jesus told him to stand up and go, your faith has healed you. He was already healed. So why did Jesus say that again? I often wondered about what happened to those other 10 that didn't come back. You know, were they really healed? You know, I can't write the Bible, but it just makes you wonder. It almost seems like what Jesus says there at the end is kind of interesting to me in view of the other 10 that didn't come back. But I think what Jesus, to me, he's saying is that your faith has healed you from this, and it has healed you from so many other things in your life. I always get the impression that when Jesus healed people, he was healing so much more. Huh?
On the inside.
Yeah. He's healing so much more on the inside, absolutely. The other thing that I took away from this is that thankfulness is faithfulness. If we, gratitude, in other words, increases our faith. This morning I have a lot more faith because I concentrated on what I'm thankful for. And when I concentrated on what I'm thankful for, I saw how much God has done for me, and I followed his feet, and I thank him for that. And what does that do? That encourages my spirit. Now there are quite a few other things, but those are kind of the things that I felt like that God is trying to teach me through this. And I just wrote down a few things here. My faith often is weak because I forget how much God has done for me. If I do not find myself back at Jesus' feet, thankful, I am not a man of faith. A lack of gratitude is a lack of faith. Thankfulness increases your faith that God will and can move miraculously. So those are some things that I've seen, and just give me a moment. I want to just kind of see if there was any other thoughts here. Yeah.
You know, subjects being thankful. Excuse me. Before church this morning, I was drinking coffee and reading the Bible, and that's exactly what I was reading. Thankfulness. And I felt like there was some kind of a message. And as much as I dislike speaking to people, I feel like there is a message.
Bob, can you come up here and speak from here so I can get this? Please.
He just said he doesn't like it.
I know, but he does it. I know. If we have good words, we need to get it on. So
But
this is my friend Bob.
This is on. Okay, here it goes. Good. This church family on this day might very well live in the greatest, blessed by God nation that's ever existed on this earth. And if you doubt that, you need to read your history. We've had a very colorful history, and we're going through some growing pains right now as a nation, and it's not all bad. We're going to learn from this. We're going to make some changes as a nation, and we're going to come out of this better than we were before. There's changes that need to be made. There are people that are taking advantage of the situation to try to insert something else. We need to be aware of that. We need to understand what's going on. And we need to continue to pray and stay in the Bible. Jesus Christ is taking care of us quite well. We don't need to worry about this nation going down the toilet. Most of us are aware of what's happening with the educational system, what's happening within our government system, and we can take steps to change that. Not going to be quick, not going to be easy. But we are in the most blessed nation that's ever existed on this planet. So notify your face. This is it. And that's the message that I got.
Amen. Be thankful. Yeah. Yeah.
We have so much to be thankful for, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And if I started, I wouldn't know where to end.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Bob. So yeah, I think just the basic thing is just challenging us to be thankful, and to see how much that our thankfulness and our faith are intertwined. And like Bob said, there's so much to be thankful for.